Hey guys, so I'm going to be reading pages 192 through 195 of your informational text packet. The questions that go along with that section, I'm going to be going over during the live session tomorrow from 6 to 7. And then I think that leaves you guys with 3 more pages left to do. I'm going to hopefully post a video Thursday. So if you guys have any questions, you can either ask them Thursday or all day Friday, so you're not stuck doing this stuff over spring break. So let's go ahead and get started. Page 192, tropical rainforest or tundra, which would you choose? Arctic tundra and tropical rainforest. Could there be 2 more different regions on Earth? Compare climate, vegetation, and animal life, and these biomes are almost polar opposites. But surprisingly, there are a few traits that bind them together. Origins. Rainforests trace their origins back about 100 million years to the flowering plants and warm, wet climate of the Cretaceous period. At that time, the vegetation, now seen only in tropical rainforests, blanketed most of the Earth's land surfaces. Only 60 million years later did cooler, drier climates develop. This restricted rainforests to their current location near the equator. The Arctic tundra arose about 10,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. Glaciers retreated further north, uncovering more land near the North Pole, but conditions remained too cold and dry for much life to flourish. Many people consider the tundra to be barren land. Climate. Rainforests belong to the tropical wet climate group. As such, almost all rainforests lie near the equator. The temperature in a rainforest generally stays between 20 degrees Celsius or 60 degrees Fahrenheit and 34 degrees Celsius or 93 degrees Fahrenheit. The average humidity is between 77% and 88%. Rainfall is often more than 250 centimeters or 100 inches a year. There is usually a brief season of less rain, which in some areas is a true dry season. Tundras, on the other hand, are among Earth's coldest, harshest biomes. Tundra ecosystems are treeless regions found in the Arctic and on the tops of mountains. The climate is cold and windy, with an average yearly temperature of -12 to -6 degrees Celsius or 10 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. In precipitation, the tundra is akin to the desert. The biome gets only about 15 to 25 centimeters or 6 to 10 inches of precipitation a year. Most of that is snow. Tundra lands are snow-covered much of the year until the short summer brings a burst of wildflowers. Vegetation. Thousands of plant species live in the rainforest. The typical rainforest is filled with tall trees with their leaves concentrated at the top. This canopy of leaves lets very little light filter down below. Thus, the trees generally have straight trunks with no branches for 20 meters or 65 feet or more. The low canopy includes bushes, smaller trees, and plants. These often sprout outsized leaves in order to collect as much light as possible. Almost no plants inhabit the forest floor, which is almost always in shade. In contrast, the tundra boasts only about 1,700 plant species. These are mostly shrubs, sedges, mosses, lichens, and grasses. There are about 400 varieties of flowers. The growing season is only about 50 to 60 days long. There are no tall trees. Most plants grow in a dense mat of roots that has developed over thousands of years. Animals. Only a minority of rainforest animal species have been described and named, so an actual species count is impossible. Thousands of species of beetles, butterflies, and other insects live there. Many species of birds, monkeys, and marsupials inhabit the rainforest canopy. Other animals, such as jaguars, apes, snakes, and lizards, are also found throughout the levels of the forest. Animal life is surprisingly abundant in the tundra, but not diverse. There are relatively few animal species. In the summer, when the snow and top layer of soil melts, the tundra is covered with marshes, lakes, and bogs that breed millions of insects. This food source attracts many migratory birds, which breed before returning to warmer areas. Large herds of caribou roam the tundra, feeding on lichens and other plants. Other animals include polar bears, foxes, wolves, hares, weasels, owls, and many waterfowl. Soil. Soil in the rainforest is typically poor. The high rainfall causes nutrients to leach out of the soil quickly. Because of the high temperature and humidity, vegetation falling to the forest floor decomposes right on the surface. What are you doing? My dog is in here. Because of the high temperature and humidity, vegetation falling to the forest floor decomposes right on the surface. It is helped along by a legion of decomposers, earthworms, fungi, and insects. The nutrients are usually taken up directly from the surface by the plants and trees. In the tundra, the soil is also very low in nutrients and minerals, but for different reasons. The soil below a thin top layer is permanently frozen. Trees and other vegetation needing deep roots cannot grow there. And when vegetation and animals die, the remains do not decompose and enrich the soil. Instead, they freeze and eventually become part of the permafrost layer. Benefits for the rest of the world. Rainforests are vital to the existence of life on Earth. Besides being home to so many species, rainforests take in much more carbon dioxide or CO2 than they release. And rainforest vegetation produces 40% of the atmosphere's oxygen. In addition, the modern world has many uses for the things that grow in rainforests. About 120 prescription drugs sold worldwide are derived from rainforest plants. And the National Cancer Institute says that more than 2/3 of all medicines with cancer-fighting properties come from rainforest plants. The tundra is also important because it removes more CO2 from the atmosphere than it releases. During the short summer, plants take in CO2 during photosynthesis. Plants normally release CO2 when they die and decompose. However, dead plants don't normally decompose in the tundra. Scientists estimate that about 1/3 of the CO2 bound in soil is in the tundra, which helps balance the production of CO2 elsewhere. Changes by humans. Humans have lived in rainforests for centuries. However, it is mostly over the last few decades that they have changed the rainforests. People have been cutting down the trees for lumber. They have been clearing the land for farms, homes, and cities. They have been digging below the surface for natural resources. These actions have resulted in startling decline in the area covered by rainforest. In some places, such as West Africa, up to 90% of the rainforest has been lost. This loss has a serious impact on oxygen production and plays a major role in global warming. Humans also have a role in dramatic changes in the Arctic tundra. Global warming is allowing more southern animals to move onto the tundra. They then compete with the indigenous animals for food and territory. But more importantly, the permafrost is deteriorating with the warmer global climate. The fall freeze comes later and more of the permafrost is melting in the southern Arctic. This loss of permafrost may accentuate global warming. Until recently, the tundra captured huge amounts of CO2 from the atmosphere, helping to keep this greenhouse gas from accumulating. Today, however, as the permafrost melts and dead plant material decomposes and releases CO2, the tundra has flipped to being a carbon contributor. Which would you pick? So if you had the opportunity, which biome would you choose to help preserve? Would you pick the tropical rainforest with its exotic wildlife? Or would you choose the Arctic tundra with its legendary polar bears and herds of caribou? You may have that opportunity sometime in the future. As scientists have continued to uncover evidence about climate change's negative effects on humans, more and more regular citizens have started calling for action. And many governments have been listening to the people. For example, Brazil has made preserving its remaining rainforest a national priority. In 2008, the Brazilian government declared its goal of reducing the net loss of forests to zero by 2015. In the United States, agencies such as the Environmental Protection Agency have been advocating for more environmental friendly actions for years. Green energy projects such as solar power farms and cars that use less gasoline have been progressing. However, as the human population grows and we need more natural resources, there will always be new reasons for you to get involved. So that is the end of page 195. I encourage you guys to try to do the questions that are on 195 through why don't we say 198? Or no, it's 199. I'm sorry, it is 199. And then we will go over 200 through 202 on Thursday in a separate video. If you guys have questions about anything in the packet or the grammar packet, please come to the live session, which will take place tomorrow, Wednesday, from 6 to 7 again. If you guys have any questions about the packet, the Google Classroom, anything at all, please feel free to email me, comment on the video, or find a different way to reach out to me. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday.